Okay. Hi. So, this is not an instructional video, and this is not an introduction video. I'm simply showing off my routine for body conditioning, and today I will be showing you what I do with my hands. So, that out of the way, I first got into body conditioning while I was training Kyokushin karate back in 2008 or something like that. And then I trained that for about a year. I got my first grade, or belt, or whatever you want to call it, and then I stopped for whatever absurd reason. I don't know why, but now that I'm back into training, I wanted to start body conditioning again. So what I do is fairly simple. Well, the whole process is fairly simple if you leave out all of the traditional mysticism and qigong and all of that. Without it, it's fairly simple, but you know, it's get more complicated the more traditional, I guess you want to be. The iron palm and stuff like that from the Shaolin. But what I do is very simple. I progressively hit or tap or slap harder and harder materials. And yeah, the way it works is, well, if you train your muscles lifting heavy weight, you tear the fiber in your muscles, and then they regrow or rebuild stronger to accommodate the load that you are lifting. The basic, very fundamental idea is the same. The more pressure or load or impact you put, or the more stress you put on your bone, they will grow stronger to accommodate the stress, I guess. And by doing that, eventually you will get very hard bone, and you can deliver very hard punches without increasing your technique. It's just simply there. It's the difference between being hit with a pillow and a brick, basically. Well, not that drastic, but you know, you get the idea. Anyway, so what I do for now, I'm just setting back into it, and I set aside about half an hour each day. And sometime I do a little bit more, and then I do the legs and the arms as well. But for now it's very basic, since I haven't practiced iron palm, or, well, not technically iron palm, but body conditioning or bone hardening, whatever you want to call it, in a long time. So what I do is, you use your own bones to tap them together. Because the more you tap your bones, the stronger they get, and the more resistance they provide. And you know, you can do that until, I guess you can do it for as long as you practice iron palm, because your bone is supposed to get progressively stronger. So I don't see why you couldn't just tap your own bones with your own bones. So that's the logic I'm using. And I'm not under any supervision or guide teaching. I'm just referring back to what I learned many years ago and applying it. So, as I said, I do in half an hour a day usually, and the way I have set it up is I have a timer that rings every 2.5 minutes, and then I switch the surface I hit. So what I start off with is usually the fingers. the inside of your fingers. And what you can do is you can strike various surfaces, like the bone, the knuckles, and the back of the hand, the kneecaps, the elbows, and stuff like that. What I do is I usually tap either the back of my fist and or the knuckles. So I have one passive fist, well, one passive arm or hand, and one active. The passive I train by, of course, the impact affects both the inside of my fingers and the back of my hand in this case. So they're training simultaneously. But what I also do is I try to keep this steady and resist the force I'm applying with my active arm. And that strengthens various muscles and stuff. So it's basically I don't know what you call it. It's not isometric, but it's an exercise thing. So I basically do 1 minute of, well, 2.5 minutes of this, slapping the knuckles, trying to get the entire length of the fingers. And then I also do the thumb. It's hard to get the thumb in with the rest of the fingers, so you have to intuitively switch between your fingers and your thumb. And the thumb I usually always do on the knuckles, it's easier. You can do it on the back of the hand as well, it's fine. What you should keep in mind is you don't want to clench your fist too hard, because it creates a bow in your hand. You want to have it fairly relaxed so it's straight, so you hit all of the bones at the same time. The same with the knuckles. You don't want to hit the meat of the fingers, you just want to hit the part of the knuckles and let your fingers wrap around. And then after 2.5 minutes I switch hand, do the fingers again, various things. And then I move on to the back of the fingers, the same thing. And yeah, that's the first 10 minutes, I believe. And then I move on to the back of the hand and strike them together. Again, you don't want to clench your fist as hard as you can. You want to have it fairly relaxed so that your bones are even. Then the palm of the hand with the base of the palm, and also the base of the fingers. You tap them together like that. And let's see, front, back. Oh yeah, the ridge of the hand. And you want to make sure to curl your fingers so they don't flail around from the impact. You want them to be stiff, and it helps expose the bone. If you, I don't know if you can see my grip or whatever, but and again I just tap or strike the hand, the palm. Can strike the knuckles as well, depending on what I feel like. And the same with the other hand. So that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, what is it, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah, the fingers. I try to train the fingertips as well. What I do is I strike either the knuckles, and you want to hit with the very tips of your fingers, so you have to keep your nails trimmed. And yeah, that's basically what I do most of the days. About once or twice each week I use this. This is basically just one of those free weight bar things. I do the same exact exercises, but instead of hitting my hand, I clench one end of the bar with one hand and strike the other end. And again, I'm trying to keep with the passive arm. I'm trying to keep the bar straight and resist the impact. And as well, I'm training my grip strength, so I'm gripping very hard the entire exercise. So, fingers, back of the fingers, and you don't want to hit this as hard as you hit your own bones. I would say about half the. I hit it about half of the force I use to hit my own hand, since this is a bit harder and it doesn't have any cushioning like muscles or skin or like that. So about yeah, half of the strength. So front, back, and the back of the hand, front of the hand, the base of the palm, the base of the fingers, the ridge of the hand, and let's see, did I miss anything? The fingers. And oh yeah, I forgot the knuckles. When you do the knuckles, just tap the knuckles together, it's the same thing. And however, with the bar, I grip it in the middle and strike the end of the bar. I both strike it head on and with a back fist, but only using my knuckles to strike. And don't forget the thumb. You don't want to have your thumb bent. You want to straighten it out as much as possible and simply rest it on the fingers. And again, you're not clenching the fist, you're having a relaxed position, and you want to straighten the thumb. And yeah, that's basically what I do for now. Once I get a bit accustomed, in a month or two maybe, I plan to move on to the what is traditionally a bag or cloth filled with iron. Instead, but I have a medieval chainmail armor, not traditionally made. It's made from spring steel, so it's a bit easier to assemble. But it's just basically a bunch of metal rings interlocked with each other, and I bunch it up. I will bunch it up. I'm not training with this right now, but in a month or so. And the same basic principles applies. Hit it with the fingers, the back of the fingers, the base of the palm, the base of the fingers, back of the hand, ridge of the hand. And again, fingertips, you want to dig into the material a little bit, almost like you're gripping it. And you can do knuckles as well. But I'm not using this right now. I'm just using my own hands and the metal bar. Yeah, so that's basically it for my hands. There's not really much else to say about that, I believe. If you're into this sort of thing, you might know about the Dicta Jiao. I'm not currently using any. And for those of you who don't know, it's a topical ointment, I guess you can say. It's alcohol based, just a bunch of herbs you rub on your hand to bring blood to your hand and help with the healing process and soothe the skin, I guess. From this little demonstration I don't really have any reddening on the skin, but it's perfectly fine. Just rub it out and it will disappear soon enough. If you strike a surface and you get a sharp pain, please stop. You're doing it wrong. You're either hitting too hard or using a too hard of a medium to hit on or strike on. As well as if you're bruising, you're doing it wrong again and you should stop and re-examine what you're doing. Traditionally what's used is a bag of rice or bag of beans. You basically fill a bag a quarter of the way, maybe a third of the way. Move on to a bag that's filled to half capacity with rice or beans, stuff like that. And then a bag that's filled to the brim with with rice or beans. And then you do the same process. You progressively move on to harder stuff. From rice and beans you can move on to sand. And from sand you can move on to gravel. And from gravel you can move on to iron. Like iron shots or in my case iron rings. And of course you can also use wood. Just be careful what you do and don't injure yourself. The point is not to break or injure your bone, it's just to shock them so they grow back stronger. Yeah. If I change my routine I will do an update video, but for now this is my routine. Yeah. Thanks for watching.